Aloha and welcome to Wisdom Dialogues with Hope Johnson. Yay! Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for listening. If you're listening, I appreciate you. Hmm. So, what will it be today? I don't know. I don't know. Wherever there's a question or an apparent problem, there's only one solution. One solution, because there's really only one problem. All the problems that are perceived in the world are projections of belief in a thought of separation. Without that belief in the thought of separation, there's no world. Not like we know it. Not like we know a world. You know. A world based on the thought of separation is a world that leads toward death, destruction, conflict. So the problems that are perceived as coming up in the world aren't really something that you have to try to work out on your own. But if you do think that you have to work it out on your own, you do think you have to solve problems on your own in the world, it makes more problems and it makes them heavier. It makes them feel heavier when they come up. Okay? Because while you might think that you can handle solving your own problems, like you're smart enough to handle solving your own problems, if you're trying to solve it on the surface, you don't really know what the problem is in the first place and where to solve it, where to look to find the solution. You don't really want the problem solved on the surface. It seems like you do. When there's an apparent problem, it seems like you do want to resolve that problem. Maybe, maybe not. But, you know, you don't really mind the problem. You could say the greater part of you doesn't really mind the problem as such, as a problem. To the greater part of you, that's another opportunity. And, you know, it's not something to even judge whether it is a problem or not. if it arises and it seems like a problem, that makes it an opportunity to heal that thought of separation, to heal your belief in that thought of separation. Okay, so you can have the thought of separation there, and it could be just meaningless to you. And that's what the world is showing us. The world is showing us that the outcome of thinking in separation, the result, it's like a mathematical equation. This is the result. This thought plus energy of mind equals this world. Like that. So when the world presents itself to you, like the world presents evidence to you of your separation, you don't have to give that any value, because that's what the world is meant to do. That's what it's meant to do. The evidence is evidence of nothing because the evidence uses worldly means to prove it, the ego's point. And the world is, it in itself, the world that we perceive is already based on the thought of separation. So everything that the ego uses to prove that you in fact are separate, it's all meaningless. See? What do I mean when I say prove that you are separate? Okay, here's a couple. Sickness is one. It makes me laugh when I say it because, I found out that sickness, injuries, accidents, all that stuff, they're upheld. They're upheld in thought. There's an agenda. They're meant to meet an agenda. So, when that's seen, that says, hey, look at you. Your body's vulnerable to whatever. Look at you, how separate you are now. See, that's kind of like the underlying tone, the underlying message of the ego, whether you recognize it or not. A lot of this stuff is veiled. So you don't get to see it until you've started looking, and maybe you've looked, deeper than the first layers. But, the ego's like, hey, you're separate. See, look at this sick body. In fact, you can expect to die at some point. It's very separate. It's very separate thought. So, that's one of them. And then there's the idea that someone did something to you. The idea that you're a victim of something. That's another one. It's a manifestation of the thought that you are separate. It's a manifestation of that. That means it's a huge opportunity for you. That means it's going to bring up some energy, and you're gonna and you can choose to extend love irrespective of what you're being told about what this energy means. See, what happens is when you get triggered, your mind starts going to justify how you feel right now. The monkey mind will kind of like justify that feeling that came up, but you can have a different interpretation for the feeling. See? So when you have your eye on, say, sickness or conflict or financial things, when you have your eye on something like that, or any thought of separation, when the feeling is presented to you as if, something's wrong. Oh my God. Or any kind of anxiety or frustration or anything like that, that's where the opportunity is. Don't believe the thoughts that justify the feeling. There's these thoughts that come to you immediately loud that want to justify why you're feeling this way. Whether you're feeling sick, whether you're feeling like someone wronged you, whether you're feeling like you're struggling financially, anything like that. It's an energy fluctuation. It's an energy fluctuation. And all that it's meant for is being perceived. That's it. Get the perception of it. Get the perception of it. You don't have to go with the thoughts that uphold it. You don't have to pursue those thoughts, let's say, that uphold that. You can just stop and get the feeling. When you stop and just get the feeling, everything resolves itself on its own. It's super simple. It's super simple. Too simple for the ego. And like I was sharing with my friends, it's right now. It's only right now. It's whatever thought is crossing your mind right now. It might be like, I need to I need to, let's say, brush my teeth better. I don't know why that came to me. That's a fun one. I need to brush my teeth better. Okay? Anything, anything like that is like a hook. That thought can take care of itself. If that thought occurred to you, you're probably going to find yourself on some different routine or doing something with your routine for your teeth or whatever. But that's not your responsibility to try to get it to do anything. See, it takes you out of what's occurring now. Also, the thought that you need to do anything contradicts the truth. The thought that you need to do anything contradicts the truth. Remember, the truth is that you're watching a movie. Adding thoughts onto that thought. Adding thoughts onto that thought is not going to help it manifest. They add up on their own. They go and add up on their own. Another one might cross your mind. Oh, fun. Okay, good. It just you found out, this concept has evolved. Oh, it's that now. Okay, cool. Let it go. It can go. And then let it just evolve on its own. They can do that. They can evolve on their own. See one that identifies you in a way that you should be doing something, but you really don't feel inspired toward it. You don't have to entertain it. You don't have to entertain the thought, because if you're meant to do something, you'll find yourself doing it, and whether you're inspired or not. The thing is that you can allow yourself to do things that are inspiring. Like in your mind, you allow yourself to. You allow yourself to do more things that are inspiring. The reasons why you can't do things that are more inspiring are what limit the thoughts that go there. That's all. That's all. And, whatever you find yourself doing in the moment, if you are willing to allow that to be inspiring, see, and what I mean by that is if you will allow yourself to be an inspiration, because that's how it becomes inspiring for you. If you will allow yourself to be an inspiration to yourself. To yourself. And it's all allowing. Allowing all it means is the thoughts that go against it aren't being given any value by you. The thoughts that are saying it can't happen like that, no way, this is how it has to go, or you've made some kind of evaluation of it, of yourself, of the situation, of anything. No, I can't do that because of this. Or I have to do that because of this. That's another thing. You don't have to do anything. And if you recognize that you choose everything that you do from a higher perspective, not from the level of perception. From a higher perspective, beyond the perceiver. Okay? You'd say consciousness just plays it out like a dance. Okay? But in the dream, you are as consciousness. You are as consciousness. While in the dream, you are as consciousness, playing it out. And also playing a part in what's playing out, see? You see what I mean? Playing a part. Playing a part in that which is being played out by you as consciousness. The whole thing is being played out by you, It's just that you get the perception of playing an individual part. And what happens is when you get the perception of playing an individual part, the seeming reality of it is super convincing because it's very realistic. And we know it's not real. I mean, we don't even have to talk about that anymore, I don't think. Seems like scientists have already like uncovered that. I don't know, anyone can probably look it up. So these thoughts of separation, they are your key. You can say they're your key. Your key to escaping the dream of separation, right? The key to escaping the dream of separation. Because with each one arising in your mind, as it arises, it gains emotional energy. You could say it, they correspond. So you sense a more and more of more of an intensity as it rises, as that pattern rises. And because of that, because it's so intense and because it's up like that, when you look at it, when you're willing to look at it like that, it's like the relief from it is so much. It's almost like it's way up here in intensity, and it's like, so much relaxation, but they're all equal. Like, you don't have to make any distinctions. They're all equal, whether it's a really intense one or not. But as the intensity is coming up, you're just gonna, when it's not that intense, you're gonna feel less of a relaxation response. At least that's how it's experienced here. When it's really intense and it's really high, the relaxation is like, So when it comes up, when the feeling comes up, look at the thoughts that are trying to justify it. That's what's holding it in place. See, that's why it's the key, because if you're willing to feel what you're feeling, then you're going to be actually aware, like consciously aware of what thoughts are upholding that feeling. Okay, this is how this feeling feels, and this is what's making it right now. I'm doing this. Like, you could say, if you're doing anything, it's not the kind of doing you're used to. If you're doing anything, that's what you're doing. You're making images in your mind. Then they're projected. Okay. It's not like doing on the level of form. It's very simple. The seeing through it is very simple, but you could say that it's not easy because of the veils that you put up, the defensiveness. They're like defensive walls of thought. Okay, and it's this fear of seeing what's really making the illusion. I mean, it's like, imagine the world with like a curtain, and it's all like a curtain, and you lift the curtain and there's nothing there, just like empty space. That's what they'll tell you now, and I don't know what kind of science it is, probably different ones, probably different branches, that it's all empty space. It's all just empty space. And then there's projections onto empty space. See, there's a strong defense against that, because from the body sense, ego sense, you could say the body sense is the ego sense, because it's based on separation. This would kill the body, obliterate it. You don't want that to happen. And its whole world. That's why there's such strong defensiveness to it. Such strong defensiveness to knowing what's actually going on there when you have the perception of separation. You have the perception of separation anytime you feel upset. That's it. That's the perception of separation. So when that's perceived, just don't rely on the evidence. Don't rely on what the evidence tells you about it. Like, oh, I have this, say you have this perception of having a headache, what's called a headache. And oh, and you notice that a couple of other people had said the same thing, about a headache. And as soon as you accept the thought that it's going around, then it's like you just gave the ego free rein of your mind to be defensive, to become really defensive. If it's going around, how do I protect myself from that? And right now, oh shoot, I got what they got. That is not a possibility. It totally denies what the truth is about you. It allows illusions to be made in your mind and taken as true. It's taken as real and true. And as long as that's going on, it's a denial towards seeing the truth. Okay? Thank you for joining. We're talking about thoughts of separation. We're talking about thoughts of separation and how they manifest in the world. How they manifest as thoughts in your mind and how they manifest in the world. And how they can be approached for healing the cause of it. Okay? For healing that original thought of separation, what's a lot of times known as the original sin, not that there's any sin that's a shameful kind of sin or anything like that. Okay, so I have a question. Also, if you have questions, you can raise your hand. Oh, there's Lori. How fun. Okay. All right. I'll go to Lori next. Am I being cautious in an egoic way when I choose to only watch certain movies, listen to certain music, hang around certain people? I find myself avoiding things that I don't resonate with or that trigger me. I find myself being careful, cautious with what I want to take into my energy field. Can you speak a little about this, please? I would just say you don't have to analyze yourself at all. At all. I mean, if it looks like you're being cautious, then it's just like, oh, it looks like I'm being cautious. How cute. You're not, you don't have to make a judgment whether that's like the right thing or not. You don't have to make any judgment. See, the trick is that it comes to be about certain surface things, like what you're doing on the surface. Like instead of that thought that says, "Am I being cautious because of this?" It's nonsense. It's a nonsense thought. It's a nonsense thought like that. I mean, it could become something that is used for healing when you recognize what the thought is meant to do. Am I being cautious? It denies the fact that you're watching a movie. It denies it. Am I being this? Am I being too much of that? Or am I being over here? Or am I over there? Someone please tell me how I'm going wrong so I can right myself. So I can make myself right. See? That's what I mean about now. Right now. What is it? What is the thought of separation coming up? Because I'm telling you, most of them are thoughts of separation. So there's all kinds of now moments to see what's going on. I love you. I appreciate this question. It's really good. I find myself avoiding things that I don't resonate or that trigger me. Okay, so that's not a problem. Who would it be a problem for? I find myself being careful, cautious with what I want to take in. Great. It's not a problem for anyone. I find myself being careful. I find myself being reckless. Whatever. Yeah. Don't make anything of it. It's not anything. Okay? I love you. All right. Yay. Oh, there's Lori. This is so fun. Yay, my love. You are on.
Hello.
Yeah, girl.
Do you know who I met this week? Because I'm in Florida still.
Okay, tell me.
I met Christine.
Oh, I love Christine. How
I do
fun.
too, so
Oh,
much. And I'm going to meet her again Thursday night, and Phoebe's going to join us.
oh my goodness. You guys are so
It
awesome.
is going to be the best.
I'm
I
stoked to hear about
It
it.
was so awesome meeting her. I've
Oh,
got some great pictures. I haven't shared them on Facebook yet of the three of us, but I will.
okay.
But this whole vacation has been nothing short of amazing. I can't. The vibration. Holy Jesus! It's
Are
off
you
the
feeling a vibration?
what?
Are you feeling a vibration, you're saying?
Big time, very
Ooh,
high.
me too. Me too. It's been intensified. I've been totally noticing that.
Very high, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's awesome.
Isn't it great?
It is. What the hell?
Well,
So,
it's like when it comes down to it, the illusion it seems to be made of electricity. Like we're electric, like we're like these in the dream electrical things
well,
that you can perceive.
yes.
You start
And
to feel electrical. It's really fun.
yes. And depending on what thoughts you have,
Yeah.
it brings it up and down.
Yes. Isn't that neat?
It is
Does
so
it
neat
does
because
it make Oh,
huh?
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
When it goes down, you know damn well it's
Oh yeah.
immediate to see the
Yeah.
thoughts. What the fuck? It's like you can't stay there.
It's
I
hilarious.
used to stay there and now I
Really good.
can't stay there. Not that I want to stay there, but it's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it. I'm
It would
having
be
so
really
much.
hard. It gets really hard at a certain point to make a choice for delusion.
Exactly. Exactly. It's hard to make a choice for delusion because you can see through it.
Yeah.
You see
'Cause you
through it.
like
Like
even if you go down the path of it, you know you are going down it.
exactly. Exactly. It's so fun. It's
Yay, I'm
so
glad you're
fun.
having fun.
It's so
If that's what
fun.
that's the thing. That's a thing that, people don't get and they're afraid of, like giving up the world. It's so much fun because it's like you gain everything, it's like you have the power of creation and you can feel the power of creation and
Mm.
you can tell when you're quote miscreating, as in creating this world
Yes.
or
Yes.
making up some more.
It's immediately in the belly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good place. That's a good place to feel it. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I've heard it. And it doesn't matter where you feel it. You could feel it in your pinky. It doesn't matter.
In your
Like 'cause it's
pinky. I've
yeah,
not
you can
felt it.
you can. Like I started to get the messages through feeling my toes at first.
Your
I would just tune
toes.
into my toes, yeah, because when I was in a thought pattern, my toes would become grippy. They wouldn't be super relaxed.
Oh, I remember you said that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just like tuning into my toes. So I've heard people say stuff like, "Well, I can't do it because my heart doesn't work. I can't feel it. I can't feel it. It doesn't feel open." And it's like, you know what? It could be anything. You could start out with pinching yourself just to feel it.
Just to feel it.
Yeah, just to feel something physically, just to feel the body sense.
Right, right,
You know,
right, right.
just
Yeah.
that's what I would recommend that a lot, and still do recommend that. It's like if you can't feel something because you feel like you can't get that tuned in to your body's energy field and the electrical currents going on there, you can start with pinching yourself. I did that too. I did lots of pinching myself. I just go, oh, I don't feel anything. All I'm doing is following thoughts. Ooh, pinch myself.
Okay, so what are you pinching yourself for?
Well, to get the body sense, to feel it, to feel something in the body.
Okay.
You
Okay.
just, it doesn't have to be the electrical feeling. You know, if, you know, that's not automatically something that people tune in a lot to a lot of the
Right.
times. And
Right.
I was one that was not able to tune into that in a lot of instances. So I would pinch myself just to get the body sense. But then my focus of attention, instead of going outwardly, you know, pursuing thoughts, would go to the body sense. So it removes your
Ah,
attention from the thoughts that are upholding this upset that's going
right.
on.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. So it redirects the thoughts to the.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah, isn't that
brilliant.
neat?
That
Isn't
is
that neat?
brilliant.
The only thing is, you know, especially when you're first starting out, you're not always gonna remember to pinch yourself because you're not always gonna be willing to. Because when you do that, you have to let go of that thought train too.
Right.
It's
Right.
like
Right. Where
yeah,
the energy wants to hold on to that thought. Right.
right. 'Cause you can't not, yeah, you can't accept that thought. Okay, I'm gonna pinch myself right now because I know that I know that I need to feel my body's energy field, and these thoughts that I'm thinking aren't really true. You know,
Right.
that's the last thing the ego wants you to do. There's gonna be all kinds of veils up, but it's okay. You just keep trying. You just
Okay.
keep trying, and
Okay.
eventually it comes, like, you know, Osho would call it a knack, like a knack. It's just like
Oh.
becomes an automatic way of being. You start to you just see something come up, just like Lori's talking about what she was experiencing this weekend, and it's just like an automatic. You can just sense it and energetically back off of it.
No. Okay. I'm gonna try that.
You like that?
I do like that. Not that I have been since I've been down here. There's not been many roads I've been down that aren't very high vibration.
Right.
Because I'm
Yes.
in a lot of gratitude for being,
Sure.
lots of gratitude,
Good.
which is very high. And
Hmm.
the healing with my sister, just, oh my God. I woke up the other night seeing clearly that the thoughts are that she doesn't da 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 da. She doesn't da 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 da. Well, of course she doesn't if I'm thinking that. Oh my God. It was huge for me to see how I projected all of it.
Uh-huh.
So each time the going back into the stories, like I call myself out on, I'm telling Holly, oh my God, that's all story. I can't even finish the sentence.
Yes.
So beautiful.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Mm. Oh, I love you so much. You've helped me so much.
Yay! That's
Oh my God.
fun. Thank you for using me like that.
Well, Christine thanked me because of they called it, Holly and her said, the Hope and Lori show.
Yeah, for sure. For
So
sure.
they've been able to with my bringing it bringing all my drama and shit talking about it. You were
It's so good. It's been so fun, and you know, I started the whole thing because of you, mostly because of you, because you were just like asking me questions, and I was like, gosh, I would love to have a conversation about this, but I don't want to write it.
right.
I want to
No,
type it.
really. You had
Yeah.
me in mind, or you just saying that
Oh,
you
totally, totally. Because you started asking me questions pretty often. I was like, gosh, I just like to have a conversation, and that'll just like flesh it all out.
oh, and it sure has.
Isn't it good? Because I think writing it on Facebook maybe probably would have taken a lot longer. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I think so too. Well,
And
Christ, we've
not
been
been as much fun. Not been as much fun.
exactly
That's
not
the
been as
main
much
thing.
fun. It could no, typing is not the same as doing
Yeah.
this. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun meeting people there and stuff, but then when they come on Wisdom Dialogues, that's when we can get into
Yeah,
it.
definitely. I've been doing my own live. I have slacked off since I've been in Florida, but
Slacked
oh,
off.
Well, yesterday I was down at the dock and I did a silent staring, and oh my God, I started crying, and they were crying, the people that were in. It was so beautiful. Just a video of staring, and I could feel the love. It was like I was projecting love and it was coming back. That's what it felt like.
That's lovely.
It was beautiful. Hmm. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh my goodness, thank you too. This is
Hmm.
so wonderful. I'm so and here's another thing. I'm so stoked that you're making videos. I'm
All
super stoked about that.
Well,
I love that.
all right. It's
Yes,
fun. I love it.
yes, thank you. That's
Oh,
really awesome.
well, thank you. I
Yay.
wouldn't I wouldn't know to do them if I didn't talk to you over the past 3 years.
I love that. I love
Me
that.
too.
Sometimes, people ask me like, how come you're not famous and stuff like that? And I'm like, maybe that's not for me. Maybe it's more like, I talk to a few people and then they get famous.
I know. Do you
Right?
see the amount of
Like
people?
that.
Do you see the amount of people that are on with me? Have you noticed? What the fuck?
No, tell me. I haven't seen.
Oh my! There's a lot people from my past that I forgotten about. They're
Oh, that's
I'm what
fabulous.
the frig from high school.
Oh, I just love that.
And the people that are reaching out privately saying things like, "Wow, thank God." I have some that are really, really accelerating just because I'm talking.
Yep,
And
that's right.
the
That's how it
gratitude.
goes.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was so cool.
Yay.
That's why you know what I've noticed. That's why it feels like a dream, because when you're in the low vibration, feeling like you're this body and mind, everything is so heavy. The backpack is on, but the higher the vibration, when you don't identify with your body mind, the backpack gets lighter, and it feels like a dream because the lower vibration, you never even thought it could be this good. That's
Yeah.
why it feels like a dream,
Yeah.
because it's it's good all the time.
Yeah. Exactly. It's like well, it comes like hide and seek, you know? It's like you experience something that makes it seem like love is lost or lack of love or something like that, and then you just find it again.
And you find it again. Oh, that's a great analogy.
It's like a game.
It is like a game.
Yeah, it's like a game. Okay, so here's something that's fun. I have a friend who told me that to tune your mind in to it being a game, take note of whatever you see whenever you see something like objects crossing like a cross, like a plus sign. Like say it's beams on the wall or something like that.
Okay.
Like
Like behind you, I see two crosses behind you.
yeah, exactly. So you like you. I don't know. It sounds like a game for the mind, which is fun. It's fun. It's fun to play because it's undoing too. It's undoing that thought of separation. Is to make a point of when you see those pluses. You see it like maybe in your house or wherever. It's all over the place. To let it remind you that you're in a game. It's a game. Because
Ah.
it's kind of like a board game, probably. I don't know, but I like it, and I'm often reminded that I'm in a game.
Now I'm going to see crosses all over the place.
You see how much fun fun it is to know that it's a game, to know that it's a dream. You see how it is.
Yes.
It's way
Yeah.
different. You think about way different things.
Oh my God, way different.
Yeah,
Way different. I mean, like clarity, so much clarity. And you can feel into other people and why they're like okay, get this morning. We were going on a dolphin tour. Now, Angie was on the dolphin tour before, so her mind, the woman it was so perfection for her before. So in her mind, that woman was booked up. So she recommended this guy. Now she said when she called, he seemed drunk. So
Oh,
so that was her first, tip off that it probably wasn't. And then this morning he was late, and then he apparently was gassing up and somebody ran into his boat. There was a bunch of shit. So I saw clearly when he got there, because of course the linked up mind the was, oh, he was drunk, and so now he should have been here earlier. He should have gassed up the boat the night before. He should. Oh my God, what's going to happen? Oh my God, all the worry. And I'm going, what the? I was not worried a bit. I was, because so I went over and talked to the guy, and I said, because he was frantically trying to get the boat in. And I said, you don't need, I said, if we're here, there's no problem here. He goes, well, I'm never late. I don't like to be late. I said, so what? It's okay. And he goes, because I could see you, because when you wake up and you're behind, your mind thinks it should be different. Everything compiles. And of course, the accident, all that shit happens because you're already believing it shouldn't have been this way from the beginning. So
yeah.
so I was just letting him off the hook, and we had a great day. It was such a good day. Oh, we saw dolphins, manatees. Some of us saw a stingray jump out of the water, and I missed it.
Wow. Great.
Yeah, in the sun, pelicans and osprey and eagles. Oh, jeez. I tell you,
I'm glad you're enjoying. You're so
I
awesome.
am totally enjoying. So,
Yeah.
all right. I think I've said enough.
I love you.
I love you too. Oh, you
Okay,
have
aloha.
aloha. Mahalo.
Hello. Bob Shine, baby.
Ho ho, hey hey, laughter and
Yay.
sounds, joy and bliss.
Yes.
So I'm glad you're back, and here I am. I'm back, and so then
Back.
the last time we talked, I was trying to decide what was appropriate for your book endorsement. Your
Oh, nothing. You could say nothing is appropriate. And everything is appropriate.
right. So I sent it to you. Did you get it? Were you able to
I
see?
did. I was so happy with it. Thank you.
Okay, so
So sweet. It was so Bob and so from your heart.
right. So you think that everything I said was accurate, that it represented you, that it was fine?
Yes, Bob. When you're writing something like that, when you're writing any kind of review or anything like that, it's just whatever naturally comes from your heart.
Yeah.
Whatever naturally comes from your heart. You're whatever you naturally give, that's enough. It's perfect. There doesn't need to be any question about it.
Yeah, well, when I talked to you before, I had all these other ideas about what I was going to say, and they didn't seem to really represent you. So that's why I wanted
Oh,
to.
were we on Wisdom Dialogues at the time?
Yeah, remember I was talking to you.
Okay.
I talked to.
Okay, so when we're on Wisdom Dialogues, I might hear some things that bring up some points, but that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with what you're writing.
Oh, yeah. But
Yeah, like everything you're writing is perfect.
okay, so then uh, it doesn't need any alterations or changes. It's good just the way it is.
Perfect.
Great. So then now, what do you do with these endorsements or these reviews or whatever? You send them to the publisher, or
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I'm going to have a bunch of reviews on the back of my book. I already have 2 reviews in the back of my book that are taking up a lot of space. That's going to be all I'm going to have on there. But I have a website where I'll also have reviews. So that's most likely where it'll be. Unless unless I decide to put more inside the book. I'm not sure, but
Oh,
there's pretty full as it is.
okay. Who wrote these reviews you're going to put on the book?
I have one from my friend Tig Monk. I don't know if he goes by that anymore, but Tiger Singleton.
Tiger Singleton, yeah.
And one from Jill Walton, another friend of mine. She's local. I don't
Oh,
know if you know her. She's a shaman, and she does ceremonies and stuff like that around here.
I think I might have heard. Great.
So I will have probably a section in my website where I'll have the review. Well, I'm not even probably because I just add them to what the website builder is doing with them.
Oh, so how's the website coming along?
I think it's great.
So it's up. I can go to your new website.
Not yet.
Oh, okay, not yet.
I just gave over the hosting today.
To this employee that's doing your website?
No, it's someone that I hired. It's a freelancer. She does book websites specifically.
Oh, okay, this is a website for the book specifically.
Yes, and it's for me as an author. So it's going to be hopejohnson.org, and it's going to have the new book, Unschooling for Parents, on there, and then it'll also show upcoming books. You know,
So how's work coming along with the other books?
it's like probably 3/4 done with the next one.
The relationship one?
No, the next one is going to be a bigger one. It's going to be more generalized, not specific, like about relationships or about kids specifically.
Hmm.
You know, the relationships one will be specifically romantic relationships.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so this one addresses everything as one relationship, which it really is anyways. You know, we talked about it last time, and now I recall what came up too last time. It was like as if this was specifically an important topic, the one about the kids. And you know, the thing is, it may help. It may help if someone is experiencing themselves in the role of parent. It may help if that, in that particular situation. But, really these concepts and these ideas, they apply all across the board. They apply to everything, not just that particular relationship. And, it's all a reflection of the thought of separation, all of the relationships, not just particularly that one. But when you're in a mindset that isn't quite aware of that yet, you think you need some specific help. You may think you need some specific help, like as a parent, how can this do this for me? So that's how it's helpful. But the concepts are meant to be like all across the board. Like that, similar to that book that the guy did about money. What's his name? Robert Shine something or something like that.
Robert Scheinfeld, yeah.
Scheinfeld. Yeah,
yeah.
he did the busting loose from the money game, which is a really fun and good book, by the way.
Right. There he spelled out how it's all a game.
Right. He's spelling that out. And then also, it applies to everything, not just that. It doesn't apply to just that. And it's not like one subject is more important than the other. They're all equal, but there's these different teaching tools that are used, and one of them may be a book that's about something specific. And it would be totally fine to write a review about that being the specific thing. It would be totally fine to write a review about that. And then on Wisdom Dialogues, it might bring up a point. Something might bring up a point. It doesn't mean that anything is, bad about it. Because that's why people are buying it. People are buying it because they're like, oh, thank goodness, this is exactly what I need because I find myself in this situation. Or might be someone like, oh, wow, I was really wounded by my childhood, maybe I could pick this book up and get some healing, like that.
Yeah, well, one of the quotes that I put in my endorsement of yours, it says, really what it comes down to is that we are symbolically the parent of everyone in our perception, including ourselves, just as love is the parent of our shared mind. So this parenting concept can be applied to everyone and everything, as you say.
Yeah.
But then, in your book, you give such beautiful, clear, detailed, specific stories about your parenting and the trials and tribulations you went through, that's very necessary for people to really understand the nitty-gritty and nuts and bolts of
Sure.
what you had to unlearn.
Right.
Free of to get to your love space with your family.
Yes.
So that's why it's important to maybe highlight these specific topics so that people can see the stories, the models for how these specific areas in life can be transformed.
Yeah, and that some ways that it could be played out. It's not like the way to play it out, but it's some ways that it could play out. And, seeing those ways of it playing out, the scenarios playing out, might inspire people, to see their scenarios playing out in a different way. Their current scenarios playing out in a different way.
Yeah, well, rather than pain and suffering, love and
Right.
freedom. That's the way people would want to learn or unlearn to experience.
Yes, and for someone who experienced parents that were not quite like that, or maybe that seemed to be the opposite of that, or someone who seems like they were raised with parents, their work or where their attention being focused can heal is on the fact that they made their parents. They made their parents to condition them like that. Like before you have the perception of being conditioned, you've already conditioned yourself. You've already conditioned yourself to be able to perceive parents conditioning you.
Mm.
So, if something like that comes up, gosh, if only I would have had parents that were like that. Admit to yourself that you made it, and you made it for good reason. You made it for good reason. It's for healing the mind. And even when the perception of how your parents treated you or how your parents raised you comes up, that's what it's for. When you have a memory come up about it, that's again what it's for. How we talked about that upset feeling and getting the effects of it and letting the forgiveness be there. It could also be read from that kind of context where if someone perceives themselves as the victim of basically unawakened parents, you can say.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it can help you. It can help you if you're open to it. Take responsibility for the perception that you make for yourself. Take the responsibility for the whole perception that you're making up, and it's right now. So it's like when a memory arises, it's right now what you're making of that memory. Are you making that occurrence, like energetic current that's passing through right now into a real thing in your parents, real people, or are you willing to receive the forgiveness that's available for that?
Yeah, well, that's the key, is the forgiveness. It's realizing that was then and this is now, and we are in the power of now, and the past has no power anymore, other than what I dwell about in the now again. So
It's always in the now moment. That's right. That's right.
So we can reframe the past in the now with a new spirit of appreciation, gratitude, forgiveness.
Which comes with seeing. which comes with seeing. And that's why, I was giving that example to Lori earlier with the pinching yourself, because that's how you can, it's like you can't really do it without some kind of help. It could be pinching yourself. I've had the situation where I've called out, like, asked for, please help me. Pinching yourself is it's kind of like a symbol that I'm open to not following this thought, not pursuing this thought pattern again, not making the past real and alive for me right now. I'm open to seeing how that occurs instead. I'm open to having the perception right now of how that occurs.
Yeah, well, in my endorsement, I say how you describe how you blundered through all of the painful fear-based illusions with your children before you awakened out of your dream of separation, setting yourself and your family free with non-judgmental, allowing, divine will, angelic help, and choiceless awareness.
Yay! That sounds fun.
Right. So yeah, angelic help. That's just it. We have higher beings, higher presence that we can call to and ask for help.
Yeah, and here's the thing. There's only one spirit. So just like there's only one of us here as people, there's also only one spirit. So all those angels, all those higher beings, all that stuff, it's all just one spirit. And it's not important who it is that you put whatever image you make, I had one friend who had a big life-size Homer Simpson. You might have known her. She was in town for a little bit. And she said you can ask Homer Simpson, you can ask him. The same thing as asking angels or anything like that, because it's all one spirit. What it comes down to is what question you're asking. Are you asking the kind of question that denies reality already? Because that's not really a question. It's more of a statement. It doesn't matter what answer is given. You made that statement, so that's the statement that you're on, and it supports separation. So it's what question are you asking when you're asking for help? If you're asking for help to see through the illusion, it doesn't matter if you're talking to a fish.
Well,
you're asking the right question.
that's just it. Joel Goldsmith talks about people that go to Lourdes to look for healing. And some of the people are so selfless that instead of praying for themselves, they pray for someone else to be healed. And what he says is the motive, your motive for asking, your motive for praying is heard. Is it a pure motive, selfless motive, a giving, searching, inquiring motive? And then he said these people that prayed for other people, that they weren't healed, but the person that prayed was healed because they weren't thinking about themselves and their own problems. Their motive was for healing for their brother, and then because the divine heard that pure motive, they became healed.
How funny.
Oh yeah, so that's just it. The motive, the inspiration, the pure intent for asking.
Yeah, and then beyond that is recognizing that asking for anything in the world is actually an exercise in delusion, whether it be for yourself or someone else, because you don't possibly know what the best outcome is. You don't have any clue what the best outcome is. So you find yourself praying for someone, yourself or anyone else. Not that it's wrong or anything, just recognize what it is. Just recognize what's going on. It's denying it's denying the truth. It's denying what's really transpiring here, which is a dream of separation.
Well, I guess whoever's answering is outside of the dream to wake you up.
Whoever's answering. Well, here's the thing. It depends on what your question is. If you're asking for healing in the dream, it may or may not come, okay? If you're asking for healing in the dream, it may or may not come. But by asking for healing in the dream, you're denying, or just, you could say you're distracting yourself from seeing the truth.
Well, I guess if you're asking,
Yeah.
there's a lack. You feel a lack of healing, a lack of help. You're not capable, and so you're asking for help. But that, I guess, is the illusion that you're needy, that you don't have the capacity yourself uh, to heal.
Right. And it's thinking that you want an outcome on the surface. It's thinking that you want some particular outcome on the surface. You don't. You want that to go according to how it needs to go, which is the only way it can go anyway. And that's what's so relaxing about that, because, for most people, they think they know how it should go, and that's hard.
Well, then you're just stuck in the past, because all you can know is the past, is your memory, is what you've been taught or what you're familiar with, and you want to move out of that. You want the new, the miraculous, the fresh, the pure, the innocent.
Yeah.
And that can't be just a continuation, regurgitation of what you already know or what you've already experienced.
Yeah, I love to watch things where, something will occur to me and it seems like it's kind of like heavy, and I'll be like, why do I even know this? Why do I even know this? It's so dumb that I know this. Why am I even aware of this right now? Why am I even aware of this fact right now?
Well, it's like what I said in my letter about your post today about the 5G.
Oh.
So now there's tons of information out there about 5G, that they put the 5G out there and all the birds are dying and people have got cancer and this,
Right.
that, and other thing. Now you know all these horrors about 5G. Like you said, there are the horrors about AIDS, GMO, radiation. There's a million and one things that are trying to kill it.
The nuclear one was huge.
Huh?
The nuclear one was huge. That was the scariest thing ever when I was a little kid.
Right. And
The
now
Russian one, they'd even make movies about it. He get blown up.
right. Yeah, we had to hide under our desks in schools.
What a fun exercise. It's
Yeah.
just such a funny exercise in separation.
But now there's people that claim that that's all fake, that there is actually no radiation, that it's all made up to generate fear.
Yeah,
That
that's what it's for.
there's a scientist, he eats uranium and says this has no power to hurt anyone. And they say that they have all those pictures of dummies in houses and buildings, and then they show a nuclear blast and everything is completely blasted. Well, what about the camera? The camera that's taking the picture doesn't even shake. They say that all these pictures are completely fake. That's what they say about the moon landing. It's all special effects.
Well, that's fun. I love the symbolism of that, because the whole thing is actually fake.
Right, the whole physical mortal universe.
For people who still take the world as real, like, that's a wake-up call for people who still take the world as real. Not that anyone really needs to wake up, because no one's asleep. No one's even asleep. Everyone knows what they're doing. Even if you're veiling yourself and you think you don't know what you're doing, you know what you're doing. You're veiling yourself so that you think you don't know what you're doing, but you still know what you're doing.
It's all a make-believe.
It's all make-believe. Yes. Yeah. So when you find out something like that, well, even if the consensus is that it was real, that it really did happen, it still really didn't happen. It doesn't matter whether someone or not. That kind of thing is for people who still take the world as real.
Yeah.
That's what it's for, so that they can have something, to kind of like shake them, like, whoa. But when you recognize that the world isn't even real anyways, that's just pure entertainment.
That's it. It's
like,
all.
It's
It's
just
all,
funny. It's just funny stuff playing out. I thought it was great, the idea that the world is flat. That is great. It's just because it's just like taking the whole like picture of our existence and saying, guess what? It's a completely different shape than what we thought. That
well,
cracks me up. It's like it's actually no shape. We just make it up as we go along, and maybe maybe eventually it'll be flat again. I mean, it was flat before, and then it became round, and whether it becomes flat or round is just a matter of perception. So yeah, if people say it's flat, then it's flat. People say it's round, then it's round. Everyone's perception is correct. You really can't argue with people's perception because that thing is a projection of the mind. You can't say because I perceive it like that, then that's really the way it is. You must be crazy for perceiving it like that. You really cannot argue with anyone's perceptions because that's reality to them.
well, it's just that you can't believe what you were taught in schools. The experts, the scientists who have it all spelled out. What's out there is not out there. They're making it up. It's there. They
Yeah.
have no scientific proof or evidence that the world is round and it revolves around the sun and we're spinning, going thousands of miles through space and everything. That's just a bunch of
So you
fantasy.
so you believe in it? You believe in that? You believe in the flat Earth thing?
Well, you just look at your own senses and see that you don't see any curve. When you look out at the horizon, you see the
But
North.
there's nothing there. But there's nothing there in the first place.
Yeah, you see the North Star in the same place every night. If we're spinning and spiraling through space, the sky would be different every night. And there's just certain things you can see every night that tells you that the scientific model that NASA and the scientists are trying to tell you isn't necessarily true.
Okay, so when it comes to that, you can only perceive what you want to perceive. In case anyone's wondering, I have Palo Santo that I'm doing this with because it smells delicious.
Well,
You
the
can only
thing,
perceive what you want to perceive. Okay,
the,
perception is everything. So you are here when you decide either way, the world is round, the world is flat. When you decide either way, when you make a decision that you think you know what it is, basically you have collected worldly evidence that shows you that. But your mind went out and found that particular evidence. The evidence was all nonsense. The evidence that you got was all nonsense. Same with the evidence that the world is round. It's all nonsense evidence. See, it's completely meaningless. There's all different perceptions. Everything is true and untrue at the same time. So if you think that they lied to all of us and that it was some kind of a scam and they lied to all of us, that's fine. That's true and untrue. But it doesn't make it like anything more than a perception. It goes for all perceptions. So, you decide whether people are suspicious even. You decide.
well,
You,
there's
that's your assessment.
there's perceiving the sun, moon, and stars and space and the sky scientifically, where you want to dissect it. And then there's looking upon it with love. So Anastasia, from Russia, she says that the sun, moon, and stars have no light of their own, that they reflect your love, that you radiate the love of your being, and it's reflected. The
Hmm.
light in you is reflected and magnified and then shines back down onto the planet, uh, demonstrating your love, your light that you're emanating out into the world, and they are just mere reflectors, that they have no light or warmth of their own other than the love that you generate and give to those celestial light objects.
Okay.
So there's another interpretation of it that when you're seeing with the eyes of love, then you're illuminating the sun, moon, and stars with your light that then shines down on the planet and blesses the planet with this love.
Okay, so here it is. Here it is now. There's there's not there's not the sun, moon, and stars like that. Like they can shine down on a planet. There's no down. There's no anything like that. There's just what you perceive, and whatever you perceive. Look, the sun isn't there unless you're looking at it. Maybe you're looking at the effects of it, but until you like look up and look at this, there's nothing there. And in fact, it's not even there when you look at it. It's an interpretation of energy. So all of the light that you perceive, and every image that you perceive is a reflection. You say it's all a reflection. It's all an equal reflection. There's not to be any distinction between like celestial beings and the earth, because it's all in the perception. It's all imagined. It's all in the perception. So it's all projection of your own light. See, there's no earth for the sun to shine down, and there's no down like that.
So there's just the one love light that shines.
Yes, yes, exactly. Like even at night, whatever it is that you can perceive, like even if it's just darkness that you perceive, it's also a reflection of your light.
Mm.
And no less of a reflection of your light than the sun. It's like it's miraculous, being able to perceive. That's wild. That's really wild.
To perceive what?
It's wild being able to perceive, making out all these forms.
Oh, to perceive, period.
Just making out all these forms, and we don't have to add any meaning to them. We don't have to add any meaning to the forms that we're making out. We can only add meaning for fun if we want, and recognize that when we're not adding meaning for fun, like we're adding meaning to feel victimized, just in recognizing that, you end up not needing to add anything to whatever it is you're perceiving. You just can allow it to kind of flow the way it does.
Mm-hmm. So what is all that needs to be.
Yeah, well, what is? I mean, look, it's not something that seems to be outside of you. What is? That's like you, awareness. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is.
Well,
Don't confuse the illusion with what is, because that's not what is. That is what is not.
Well, you were talking earlier about scientists saying that what's out there is just empty space.
Empty space. There's nothing there.
So, see, this is what I've come to discover, that that we can transcend survival by form because we're not dependent on any form. We are pure space, pure awareness that generates the space for form to exist, that basically we are invisible. We don't require a form to exist, that we are the space of awareness that generates all form. So,
yeah.
So that's why we're not imprisoned by a body or karma or reincarnation. Right. Or the next life or anything, because that's all just more form. We don't have to abide by any form whatsoever. Form totally abides by us, because we generate the space that through awareness, nothing exists without us to perceive it, to be aware of it.
Yeah.
And so that's the fallacy of the scientific method that wants to dissect, what's out there. What's out there is coming from you. It's like looking at the movie and screen and dissecting what's on the screen when it's being projected from you. It's stupid, really. So then you see that you are the light and the film and the whole bit, and then love and harmony and peace is projected from your being, because you're not separate, you're not in conflict. There's not a you and an out there. There's no out there anymore. There's just the oneness of love.
Yes. And you could say embrace the conflict, embrace this conflict, because it's a body sense. Because that's all it is. And so that's why it's so in your dominion, because it's coming to you as a body sense.
Mhm.
It's a body sense projected, and there's a form projection that comes along with it, and also thoughts that uphold the body sense.
Mhm.
So because it is a body sense, you can handle any perception. That's all it is. It's just a body sense. There's nothing there to be afraid of.
Well, that's because if you're afraid of, then you're handing over your dominion to the body, and you have dominion over the body. The body doesn't have dominion over you. So the body is kind of like your faithful dog. It obeys your commands. You just have to take dominion of your body. Without
Yes.
you, the body can't do anything. You can't raise a hand, you can't sit up, you can't take a bite of food without you doing it. And that goes for everything else to do with your body. It's completely, as you say, a projection of your mind.
Yes, and what most people engage in is pursuing some freedom for their body, something good for their body, by sacrificing their sanity. So basically sacrificing the mind to pursue something for the body. And that's what you see, like when you look out on morning traffic, the gridlock. It's like they drive to get all these comforts for the body, but it's sacrificing sanity. No one wants to be there. Very few do. On the surface level want to be there. Everyone wants to be there, but very few on the surface level feel like they even want to be there. But they're being imprisoned in their mind because their mind has been given over to ego to go get the comforts for their body, and so it's sacrificing their own sanity. Basically, you could say their soul. You could say sacrificing your soul. Not that could really be done permanently, but you could sacrifice it in your awareness. In your dream, you can sacrifice your soul in order to get comforts for the body. Or you can use your body, which is using the body sense. Use the body sense. That means whatever it kind of upsets come up, like Lori and I were talking about earlier with the navigating, using the body sense to see through the illusion that's been made. To see through the illusion, using that body sense to heal the cause, what caused the illusion in the first place.
Right. Which is your mind. That's why you go back to your mind and
That's
don't
why, yes.
even think about the body or the symptom or I got to eat this food or I got to do this or that. That's just looking outside of yourself again. It's just like looking at your shadow and
Yeah,
thinking you got to
yeah.
adjust your shadow when it's your projection.
And look, you might find yourself eating a certain food. It's okay. I mean, you might find yourself eating a certain food. It's just that idea that you have to do something about it. Because the idea that you have to do something about it is denying the fact that this is dream-like. It's like a movie. You do not have to accept the idea that you have to do something about it for things to be done through you. I have the experience lots of times where, like, I'll give you an example. The thought of, oh my goodness, I totally need to get different pants, and then the thought will come, you need to do nothing. There's nothing you're even capable of doing. And then the next thing you know, I'll find myself with the pants and won't realize that was that thought playing out even after I went online apparently and bought the pants and everything. I didn't even notice it was that playing out. The body sense is still going to work if that's meant to occur, if that needs to occur. Let's say if it's healing for the mind to occur, then that's going to occur to you. You might even perceive yourself doing the deed. But that never meant that you needed to or had to, because you were never capable of doing it. You can only have an appearance of doing the deed.
Yeah, well, you don't have to get hung up about it like so many
Yeah.
people with their diet and everything's got to be sustainable and you got to be a vegan and all this kind of stuff.
Hang-ups, yes.
Yeah, so it's just part of the flow of your life. It's easy. It's effortless. There's no snags. You just, if you think about something, then like you say, then you forget about it, and then all of a sudden you see that it's happened without your trying to make it happen.
Yeah. Because once you are aware of the thought, I need to, whatever, it's already set in motion. It's set in motion in the way that you're used to seeing it, as if you need to do something. That's all. Eventually, it's not going to show up like that. But the habit is for it to show up like that, as if you need to do something. It's okay. You don't have to interpret it that way just because it's occurring to you.
Yeah, well, there's this quote, your mind must arrive at the destination before your life does.
There you
So,
go. That's a good one.
so you know, it's like they say, well, you have to see it to believe it, but it's the other way around. You have to believe it to see it. So
That's it.
so you generate the image in your mind, and then you see it projected out into your world because it all comes from your mind.
Yes. You see what you think you know in the world. And
Right.
as you start accepting the truth, as you start accepting, who you are, you might even see a lot more of those thoughts coming up in material form saying, wait, here I am. What about this? Don't you want to focus on this? Don't you want to make this important? Because that's what the habit is of perceiving that way. But eventually that habit will wear itself out. And you don't have to be in any kind of hurry to let the habit play itself out. It'll do it on its own.
Yeah.
And go easier and faster, depending on how you take it. If you take it to be a problem, then it goes longer and it's harder. But if you take everything as if it's healing for you, because it is, if you accept it, you take everything as it's healing for you, even perceived mistakes that you seem to make, that everything's healing, then it works much faster and it goes much easier and it's more fun.
Yeah. Well, it's like I said in my letter, the non-judgmental allowing.
Yes. And that's of everyone, and it starts with yourself, and other people are a reflection of yourself. So when you're not allowing other people, that's basically you're not allowing yourself already. It's just that it's secret, it's hidden from you.
Mm.
So that's why it's really important to notice when you're not allowing other people. And in my case, that was applied to my kids first and foremost because they were around me all the time. And they were people that I thought I should exercise authority over. So they were perfect. They were the perfect one. And just in seeing that, I don't really have authority over people. I made that up. So in using that and watching how I'm limiting their freedom apparently, but really I'm limiting my own feeling and or my own freedom, and that's why I'm feeling like that. That's why I'm feeling like my freedom's limited. Whenever I limited my kids' freedom, I felt like my freedom was limited. I don't know if anyone else can relate with that, but for me that was like, it was so, wow, there it is right there. Why am I doing that to myself? Why am I doing that to myself? And then I see the thoughts that justify why I would be doing that to myself. And I was like, shit, those aren't even real. Those aren't even true.
Mm-hmm.
So without those being true, then there's no cause for doing that to myself. It doesn't seem appropriate to do that,
Mm.
to harm myself like that. And how you feel is a reflection of how you're treating yourself.
Mm.
And so how you're treating yourself comes out where you perceive yourself treating others a certain way, but really behind that, the secret is that's how you treat yourself. You see it in your mind like that first. So I just kept on acknowledging that I was what I was doing, what I was really doing. Every time I wanted to control someone's freedom or, keep them from doing a certain thing or try to get them to do a certain thing. Either way.
Yeah, well, that's just it. It all comes down to the oneself. So that's just why in this Facebook post today, Anastasia says, in your dream of life, your job was to reduce population, what means would you use? And you said love will reduce the population down to one. So that's just, it's all oneself, and that's why I go on to say, do you have the mind to distill your fear-based ego into the love of the oneself, which is God, the simple
Yeah.
one?
Yeah, it's just funny. It's like the ego will always try to throw up these fearful things, and they're just for laughs. They're just for shits and giggles.
Yeah, well, that's just it. So much of comedy is based on comedy and tragedy, that
Yeah.
fine line between, when you see the guy slip on the banana peel and it could be a tragedy, he might have broke his neck, but you end up laughing, so that creative tension,
Yeah.
that, that, that the so-called problems in life generate that they say laughter, Joni Mitchell sings laughter and crying, it's the same release, so it's crying and yelling and laughter. It's kind of a release of a tension. It's almost like they almost compare it to like an orgasm, that laughter is an orgasm due to the intercourse of reason and unreason.
Neat.
Yeah. So you can transform every negative into a positive by seeing the humor in it. That's the great joy, the great gift of our human life, is that it's so rich with humor. There's so much to laugh about, all the foibles and the problems, and you see those Saturday Night Live satires of Trump, and it's like Trump is such a wellspring of laughs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you haven't seen those yeah, Saturday Night Live spoofs on Trump?
I have not.
Oh my gosh, they're fantastic. What's his name? I forget the actor's name. He looks just like Trump, and yeah, they just go on and on and on, just poking fun at him and his statements and his demeanor, and it's hilarious.
We're all hilarious.
That's it. That's
We're all hilarious.
what it all comes down to. Is we have to just enjoy, have laughter, generate love, and then we generate more of that. That just like returning to innocence, like children, playing games, fun.
Yep,
So
it's all a game.
that's just it. So Jesus says you can only enter the kingdom as a little child.
Yes.
So that's what your book really highlights, that unschooling parents and returning back to innocence. And that's
Yeah, it's letting your mind be restored to that childlike innocence. If you're practicing with children, if you have, children have joined you, let's say your children have joined you, basically on the adventure. I call it an adventure a lot.
mm,
Physical manifestations of children have joined you on the adventure,
mm,
then, here's all the different things you can allow for them. But really, the physical manifestations of children or of anyone else that you're not allowing is just projection of what you didn't allow for yourself or don't want to allow or afraid to allow for yourself.
mm, mm. That's just it. It's all love yourself, know yourself, heal yourself, and everything follows that.
Yes, you got it. And when I say yourself, what I'm talking about is a confusion. It's a confusion. All it is belief in the thought of separation. It's nothing more than that.
Mm, mm,
All that's getting healed is belief in the thought of separation. There's no you that can be unhealed or healed. That's all it is. And there's no body that can be unhealed or healed either. All that gets healed is belief in the thought of separation.
Well,
And in the dream, through the dream, that's how the healing happens. The healing happens through the dream. It's perceiving through the dream. There seem to be a lot of layers. Like, people talk about like peeling an onion and stuff like that. There seem to be a lot of layers. And, that's how you know it's a dream. There seems to be layers. There seems to be levels. That's how you know you're dreaming. And in a dream, the layers will seem to peel away. You'll seem to advance to higher levels, and at the highest level of consciousness, consciousness becomes conscious of who you are. And then at that point, there's no need for consciousness.
Well,
So
yeah,
it's all disappearing.
who you are, your true identity, which is not a separate skin encapsulated ego. That's not you. That's not your true identity. Your true identity is the I am, which is the same identity that we share with everyone else and with God and the angels and all beings, everyone, everything, everywhere. So that's what it all boils down to.
Hooray.
It's all distilled into that one self
It's all distilled.
that has no opposite.
No opposite.
It emanates everything unlike itself. The everything of light that dispels the nothingness of darkness.
Yay.
Okay, well, thank you for everything. And I love you, and this is just the greatest gift and treat of my life to get to dialogue with you and have you bless me and all of us who follow you and who don't even follow you. You just bless the world, bless existence. So thank you.
Yay. Blessings, 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 everyone, all around. There's only one of us, that's why.
That's right.
Yay. I love you. Aloha.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Aloha. Yay. So Lori wanted to talk to me too, but then she took her hand down because she has to go somewhere. Okay. I have to pack. 10:30 here. Catch you on YouTube. Woo! Oh, your hand's back up. Yay!
Yay! I started packing while Bob was talking with you both right on the little windowsill here. Anyway, something triggered. He said something, and I don't remember what each of you said, but it made me think of today on the boat. I don't remember what you said, but it made me think about the old thought process. There was so much worry about what this body looked like and identified as, that there wasn't enjoyment of the moment and the things that was seen today, because of not being stuck in that mind of what this body looked like to others, which was always my own projection anyway. Oh my God.
Even what it looks like to you.
Exactly. That's what I just said. Exactly what it looked like was my own projection, wondering what they were seeing when it was my own thoughts. So stupid. Anyway,
it's fun.
It was so fun today. Just complete. That's the whole thing, is basically being in the moment now, not projecting any, just being now. And so much more is present without.
Once it gets really current.
Very current. Oh yeah. So
current.
Cool.
This is what it's saying now. I have a fun time all day long recognizing the thoughts, but it just occurred to me, I'm sitting on my yoga mat right now, and how in yoga, how many different ones just like cross my mind, and just like it made me kind of laugh a little bit and then go back into the body sensation of the yoga, you know.
Mm.
And I
Yeah.
notice each time, you know, the symbolism of it is pretty profound for me, because each time a thought will arise and there will be like a little, oh, thank goodness that's not true, or something to that effect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it seems like I'm getting deeper into the stretch or deeper into the pose.
Oh, I'm sure, because it's
Yeah,
contraction. When you're contracted,
yeah.
oh my God.
Yeah, like
Oh,
there will be this release that seems like it's in the body too, you know, and like
oh,
where,
for sure, it's in
you
the
know,
body.
like, thank goodness I don't have to hold that. And the symbolism of it is that you don't have to hold on to that stretch, you know, whatever the inflexibility is
Right,
either.
right. It totally lets go in the mind and the body. Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
it's really sweet.
It is.
We're
Uh,
blessed.
yes, definitely we are.
All right, have fun
Okay.
sleeping. I
Thank.
love you.
I love you too. Thank you.
Love
I'm going
that.
to pack. Finish packing.
Yay. Okay.
Bye bye.
Bye. So nothing you do is right or wrong. That takes out a lot of evaluation, which takes out a lot of meaningless thoughts. Meaningless thoughts. And you know, all thoughts are meaningless that have to do with the world. They're totally meaningless. They have to do with the world. Now, there's a whole thought system that doesn't have to do with the world. It's just it's just based on what's true. It's based on what's true about you. It doesn't have to do with the world. But the thought, any of the thoughts that have to do with the world are just meaningless thoughts. It's a meaningless play. And it's playing out on its own. It doesn't need you. The play does not need you. You're automatically an actor in the play. And so, you know, you're automatically an actor in the play because the play just can't go without you. And there's no way you could be out of step with it. There's no way you could be out of step with it. But you can let that play out on its own without your adding any thoughts to it. See, the adding thoughts to it affects the playing out. That's what affects it. It affects the playing out. The adding thought to it affects it. Because when you're adding thoughts to it, you're saying that I want to be separate. I want to keep this separate, separate, separate. I want it to be separate. You might think it's affecting you, it's playing out in your favor, you know. But as it's affecting the playing out like that, you're distracted. So you're trying to use what you have, your mental capacities, to get something for your body, but at that same time you're imprisoning your mind into this pattern. Okay. There's no body to get anything for. And the apparent body is being supported and taken care of, totally provided for by the mind that made it. So you don't have to try to get anything. But you know, you may see opportunities coming, and you know, by all means take the opportunity. Not that you have a choice in that. Not that you have a choice in that. By saying take the opportunity, it's like I'm giving permission to consciousness or something. It's kind of absurd thing to say, but I find it coming out of my mouth anyway. So, you know, whatever you can do with that, and I'm sure there's something you can do with that. That's the way it goes. What question are you asking? See, that's the thing. What question are you asking? Are you asking for something to be solved in the material realm? Are you asking for something to be solved in the material realm? When you feel upset, do you really think that solving something in the material realm will make you feel better? If you do, that's okay. Just admit that. Okay, I feel upset right now, and I really believe that getting this thing fixed in the material realm is going to make me feel better. Therefore, I'm willing to pursue these thoughts about getting something else rather than accept what's available for me here. You know, just being honest is really helpful. Just being honest about it. I want something. I want to use that to get this feeling. When you recognize that it's all feeling and it's a now feeling, you recognize that it's a now feeling that's available for you. You won't feel like running away to try to get it in the future that's never coming. Try to somehow rearrange the path. It's available right now. Nothing happened, and nothing can prevent you from receiving the proof that you are the truth. And the proof comes to you through feeling, through a perceivable feeling. That kind of evidence comes to you. It's a perceivable feeling, visceral. So you're feeling really upset, and it seems like it's got a hold of you, and then it releases. Course in Miracles calls that a miracle. Instant relief. Instant. No waiting around for it. No waiting to see the effects of it. Instant. Gratitude. No one's done anything to you. Okay, I have a comment here. I've just been inspired to look at that. Oh, I hadn't seen this. The ego, though illusory, appears to be the most useful tool the eternal self has for understanding what it is. Okay. What it is not, and what is beyond the dualistic perception, what is and is not. Or some shit like that. Clever thing. The ego gets the self trapped in all kinds of close corners and quagmires, exploring how to get out, or even to get ahead, or all manner of other getting. How fun! That's really fun. The ego, though illusory, appears to be the most useful tool the eternal self has for understanding what it is and what it is not. Okay, so I would say understanding what it is not, because the eternal self, the eternal self isn't going to be revealed by the ego. The ego doesn't know how to reveal the eternal self. The ego can only reveal what the eternal self is not. Okay. Clever thing, the quagmires, exploring how to get out or even get ahead, or all manner of other getting. Yeah. So it's like, how do I, and then there's how do I get out of this too? That's the ego saying, how do I get out of this? Which is not a problem. It's not a problem. That's what the ego does. It goes for, it looks for it, but seeks stuff. So through the exploration of how do I get out of this, through that exploration of how do I get out of this, even with the ego guiding that thing, apparently guiding it, but still it's you. So even with the ego apparently guiding that thing, it's just, that is the right question. And now it's getting to the right question. And not that the question is right or wrong like that. I mean, even the question, how do I get ahead? That's going to be taken by the spirit, for the sincerity that's in there. But the question itself is asking for something that you really don't want. Because you don't really want anything of this world. You want what you think you lost. You want what's causing the upset, that's causing you the pain in the world, the parent pain in the world. You want that to be healed, and that's all. That's the whole purpose for the dream. That's the whole purpose for it. So it might seem like the ego is coming to your aid, as that is. Fine. Let the ego also know that you're interested in getting out And not, because again, that's the right question. Out, not ahead. You don't have to ask the ego how to get out, but it's like you demonstrate to the ego, or you could say the part of your mind that wants to be separate, that you don't want to be separate anymore. Because you're not pursuing those thoughts of separation anymore. You're not pursuing those thoughts of self-evaluation or evaluations of others or comparison. Or making sickness as if it has a cause in the world, as if one thing affects another thing. Seems to have gotten really heavy lately about how things in the world affect people. Now all of a sudden there's all these different things in the air and everything. You hear about chemtrails too. Wow, it doesn't even occur to me till right now, man. People go through it over that stuff. When you recognize that it's all in your mind, none of this stuff matters at all. You won't be trying to convince other people that it's really there. That's the thing. When this matters to you, when these things matter to you, you try to convince people that you're right, that it's really true. No. But that's because that's part of the distraction. They want to be distracted by you, and you're happy to oblige because that's what we're doing. We're giving each other what we want. So there's nothing wrong with the distraction either. You can't make a mistake. You know exactly what you're doing. There's nothing wrong with distracting yourself. You're going to distract yourself as long as you need to distract yourself so that you can get the experience of what it feels like to be in separation. And you're going to have enough time to completely heal your mind. Basically, and what we said, healing the mind. What is healing the mind? Again, what is healing the mind? Again, it's undoing the belief in separation. All you're doing is undoing that belief in separation. It's like to get to the point where you could perceive yourself as a body, or you could have a body, even to have a body sense, like, myself, I have a body sense too. I sense a body. Even to have the sense of a body, you have to be projecting that the sense of separation, that the thought of separation is real. That's what the body's made up of. So it's made in the mind first before the body is projected as a body. And then that body is made to perceive people in a certain way. That's why your parents didn't do anything to you. If anything, they just gave you what you wanted. Okay. And that goes on for the whole life. It's like every person that you perceive, it's like that's what you want. That's how you want to perceive them right now. And when you realize that's how you want to perceive them right now, it's just being honest like that this is how I want to perceive them. Okay. So let me get the perception. Your perception changes. It's like, oh, I'm just choosing how I want to perceive them. I'm just choosing how I want to interpret this right now. Shoot, I could have the best. I'm worthy of the best interpretation possible. And it's all reflecting on me what interpretation I make. So that's why, the Buddha talked about the world being loved like your only child. I've heard it referred to, I'm not sure if it's the Buddha, it could be someone else, the beloved. The beloved comes through everything that you perceive in the world because it all has awareness. That's everyone and everything. That's even inanimate objects. It's all, it's a cognizant. But the way you're looking at them, the way you're interpreting them, that's all you. So you can choose to disregard your interpretation of them and take them as they are, which is how you are, which is pure, innocent, divine, never having left heaven, never having separated yourself, not asleep, definitely awake. Okay? Wake up. No, just kidding. There's no one to wake up. No sleeping. It's a dream of sleeping. You could say the dream of the sleeping dream comes up after the thought of separation. After substantial thoughts are added to the thought of separation, let's say that. And then the manifestation of it brings opportunity to undo it. You could say the manifestation of it is the ego's world. So that's why it makes it a useful tool to the eternal self, even the ego. Yes? It's just, remember, it is not your friend. It is not your friend. Don't try to reason with it. It only stands for what's not true. And it's only a useful tool because of showing you it's not true. Given who you are, showing you what's not true as if it's the truth, given who you are, you can deny any value to that. That's how the ego is useful. Other than that, it has no use. So, hooray, everyone. If there will be no more hands and no more questions, then I am going to close out now. I love you. Thank you. As always, Wisdom Dialogues is sponsored by Miracle Botanicals, our beautiful essential oil line. It just keeps on getting better. We keep on sourcing oils from different farms that we find that are just producing this beautiful aroma. Sometimes we find, our supply is gone. That supply is gone. Cut off. Cannot get the supply anymore. So then the next thing we know, we find we thought we had the very best supply. And we did until it became available, until an even better one became available. And, I say better as if there's better and worse, but, it's not really like that. It's like per the timing. It's like, right now, this is the best. Oh, right now, this is the best. Oh, perfect. You see? It's like that. And that's how it just gets better and better. It's like, this is perfect for right now. See? And it reflects, I hear from our customers that it reflects in the effectiveness that they perceive. They perceive it coming from the oils, but really it's coming from their own mind and allowing. And, that does come through in the oils because they pick up the vibration, whatever they've been in communication with. So we bring our essential oils here to Hawaii. They're grown all over the world. Wherever it's the best climate for that particular botanical, that's where they grow. And then they're expertly distilled, and they come here in the form of oil already. And we keep them here. They're actually in our home right now. They get harp music every day, just about every day. And they get loved up. They get handled by loving hands, by people who appreciate their essence and are grateful to be in their presence. So that's something that makes a difference because it's all mind, see? Because it's all mind. And people who are open to those kinds of openings and can receive them do recognize it with the essential oils. So if that sounds appealing to you, if you're interested in essential oils or you already know essential oils, I love it when you already know essential oils too, because then you know the goods and you can recognize the good stuff, and then you know what you got. And, those of you that are new, we have great customer service. You call, you usually get a hold of Leah Monday through Friday. Usually get a hold of Leah, and she's very helpful, very knowledgeable. She loves the essential oils too. So that's miraclebotanicals.com. Also, wisdomdialogues.org is where you're going to find all the videos right now. Coming up kind of soon, I don't know, I don't have a date yet, hopejohnson.org. That's my author website. That's where all of the books and stuff are going to be, okay? And who knows, maybe I'll end up pointing them, I don't know. We'll see what happens with all those websites. Pretty funny. But there's also this, Wisdom Dialogues Online, which, you know, continuing indefinitely until I'm told otherwise. So I find out it's not. Every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Hawaii time. And you can join me live by going and joining the group on Facebook. Facebook.com/groups/Wisdom Dialogues. And if you'd like to get a hold of me, or you'd like to send me any monetary donation, the PayPal address is hope@miraclebotanicals.com. That is also the same email address that you would email me if you choose. Thank you so much. I so appreciate sharing with you. I love you. I love you. And, you know, without you, there'd be no healing. So thank you so much. I appreciate you. You mean so much to me, and I love you. Aloha and hui ho.